Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gospeldrum. My name is Josephina Tanga. We are so excited on this episode of our show because we are introducing a new add-on to Gospeldrum, which is the Eagles Book Club. On the special edition, we have a remarkable lady in the house whose writings are prompted by injustice and people's lack of compassion for others. Coming up next on this segment of Eagles Book Club. Welcome back to our program. My name is Josephina Tanga. With us in the studio is Miss Florence Hamokong, a high school teacher. Miss Florence, you're welcome to Gospeldrum.
Thank you very much, Josephine. It's an honor for me to be in this program, especially this first slot of the Eagles Book Club. Now, I'm very, very interested in this club because it's going to bring out or project most of our authors that are really reflecting the culture and the societal problems that we have in this community. And so I'm really happy to have this out here so that our children and everybody can get involved in this show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're really excited, you know, for us to have a book club without a school teacher. What would that be like? We're really excited. And Miss Rosanna, who is not new to Gospeldrum, welcome once again.
Thank you for having us on the program. I am very excited, a great admirer of our guest today, Evie Brooks, and I'm very happy to see that Gospeldrum is having Eagles Book Club because we're hoping that people will read these books, and particularly this one because it's a great book, and I believe that people will be very inspired by reading this book.
Definitely, because I am already inspired just reading this book. The prose, the poems, they're very, very touching. And our guest today on the show is, like you rightly said, Miss Evie Brooks, a resident of Southern Maryland, a graduate from Bowie State University. She has written several books like Earnest Reflection and Earnest Reflection. Her latest work is Subtle Changes. Please join me to welcome in the house Miss Evie Brooks.
Thank you so very much, Josephine. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
Hey, it's an honor for us to host you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
I expect many blessings from this
Amen.
event.
Amen. We just want to know more about you. Subtle Changes. I love the title. Subtle Changes. Collection of poetry and prose. We want to hear more about this.
Well, what prompted me to entitle the book Subtle Changes develops from my experiences from my childhood up until now. Many of my experiences have been very painful. I grew up in an area where discrimination was very prevalent, and I have seen the transition from not being able to read books in a public library, not being able to go into restaurants, or when we could go into a restaurant, it had to be through the back door. Now, this was even as late as the 60s. And although we still have numerous problems where I live, I do see that there are numerous changes that have come about. And they have not come about rapidly, but through many years of toil, of prayer, and perseverance to bring a community together where blacks and whites can sit down and reason together. And one of the gentlemen in the county who was very much influential in bringing harmony is Dr. Smucker, who used to host events to try to bring together, and he would have it during the month of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And he had this event, and he called it Subtle Changes. And I wrote a poem to accompany that event. And so I tried to convey my thoughts and my feelings to express the changes that have developed within the county in which I live.
Wow, that would be interesting for us to just, read that poem, Subtle Changes. Okay, we're going to have Miss Rosanna read it.
Subtle changes. How subtly a child develops, gradually changing each year, in such a subtle manner, unnoticeable by those near. Just like a child's development, our society changes too, through subtle transitions in our thoughts from old to new. Our thoughts turn into habits, which after many years we know develop into attitudes that we sometimes need let go. But attitudes manifested by ways that take love to refine make our society better through the subtle changes of the mind.
Oh, wow. What a beautiful poem.
Thank you.
When I read that particular poem, I just thought that you were talking about a little child just growing from a baby, maybe to a teenager, to an adulthood. But now, from listening to what you're saying, it's totally different.
It is. Although I compared it to the transitioning of a child to adulthood. And I just thought that was a great comparison, because that is what it's like. For society to change, there's that embryonic stage, and then it progresses to the adult stage. And just as it takes a lot for a child to develop, it takes a lot for a society to progress in a positive manner.
So it's a process.
It is.
I remember what our pastor was preaching today, that we want changes, we want it right away. But it has to be a process.
Yes.
So it takes a while for the society to change from one state to the other.
Exactly. And so gradual. It takes years, it takes numerous people, it takes death, it takes life, it takes persecution, it takes many things to bring about these subtle changes. Sometimes it's a person's death that impacts another person to see life in a different perspective. There are just so many avenues that it takes for us to get to the point of communing together in Christian love.
That's very, very interesting. And I also like the imagery that you've used. You've used the image of a child's development, and that is very vivid, just like you've said it. I'm also interested in the kind of change that this subtle changes bring. it says it's not like the brutal force kind of change where they just destroy everything, but it's gradual, taking time and also efficient.
Exactly.
Is that?
Yes, it takes a lot of time from planting a seed for someone to say, hey, there's a change that needs to be made, and to get other people to buy into that dream and to support you in that dream. Because there are so many people who don't wish us to move forward in life because they have a lot to lose. And so the road is treacherous to this subtle change often, because there's so much for people to gain who have ill intent.
That's right.
And so the subtle change it's a very delicate change, and you cannot hasten that change. It has to be done gradually and prayerfully.
Or something that you said about people feel that they have a lot to lose. But one of the things that you point out in this poem is that love, if we will take love and refine it for ourselves, the mind will change, and then our society will be better.
Correct.
I like what you say, that our thoughts turn into habits.
Yes.
You know, the more you think about something, the more you tend to start acting like the way you think, because you are what you think.
Exactly.
I love that. And our sister had said that some of those changes don't have to be violent, but at times we need violent changes.
Exactly.
Look at what happened in North Africa. That was violent, but we needed a change. But I think what had happened before it gets to the violent stage, there must have been a kind of like a subtle process that has gone and nothing happened. Then we have like a boom change. So, but I really love it. I love this poem. I hope that people will take time just to listen to it and read it, and listen to what our sister has read, and just buy the book. Let the words keep, ministering something to you. We will take a little break, and when we come back, we will do another poem from this book, Subtle Changes, a collection of poetry and prose. Don't you go away.
Our Father who art in heaven, notre Père qui est aux cieux. Our Father who art in heaven, notre Père qui est aux cieux. Our Father who art in heaven, notre Père qui est aux cieux. Our Father who art in heaven, notre Père qui est aux cieux.
Welcome again to Gospeldrum. My name is Josephina Tanga, and with us in the studio, in case you're joining in, is an author, Miss Evie Brooks from Southern Maryland. And we are going to talk about one of our other poems, Vain Oblation. I'm going to have my sister read that poem for us.
Vain oblations. Verily I say unto thee, that if ye love me, and keep not my commandments, ignorant are ye of me, neither are ye desirous of me to abide with thee. Offer ye up the gold, belittling me, likening me to a mortal soul, as though I can be I can be told to go there and to do this in obedience to thy will. Oh, that's a question. Oh, sadly, though thou dost not know me still, neither dost thou seem to care, seeing me not with thy eyes, thou dost not believe that I am near.
Miss Rosanna, I
This
think
is my very favorite poem in the whole book. I really admire this poem. It speaks to me because of talking about the gold and, as you pointed out, to go there and to do this, to obedience to thy will, my will. You know, we ask the Lord to do things for us that maybe are not in His will. And I think that my friend here has captured that whole idea of asking the Lord to do what we want and not asking or believing that He is near if He doesn't do what we want. Am I correct?
At times, that's the attitude we have. You know? But also, what I'm trying to say is there are things that God requires of us. For instance, forgiveness. You know, and we're willing to give our offering in church, but yet we are not in fellowship, you know, with our brethren. And so we are to leave our offering. It's not before we offer it up to God. We're supposed to become reconciled to mankind. So we're constantly doing our will, you know, so we can buy God, you know. But He has, you know what I mean? We think we can buy this, that, and the other thing, and like we're supposed to be commanding Him. No, God commands us, and we are not obedient. And so if we are to become reconciled to our brethren who has aught against us, we should leave our gift, you know, at the offering, become reconciled, then offer it up. You know, we consider ourselves doing great works, you know, but still somehow we are trespassing against God. And it's a serious warfare in which we engage. And we have to be careful that we are not trying to just do our will, but the will of God. He cannot be manipulated. He will not. God will not be manipulated. You know, but we seem to think He can, and we think that we can plea bargain with Him, you know, like we do in society with a lot of things. But it doesn't work that way. And so those oblations, those offerings of whatever it is, it's all in vain. It's worthless, whether it's gold, whether it's works, whatever. And if it's not within the right spirit, then what good is it?
Did you have any experiences before writing this particular poem? Were you going through some things, or you had experienced some vain oblations in your life, and you wanted to, you know, encourage other people to not to, you know, get into the same situation?
Oh, sure. Yeah, because there were times when I had a spirit of unforgiveness, you know, and it really troubled me. And for as hard as I tried to forgive, it took years for that to come to me. So, you know, whatever I presented in the offering place, as far as I'm concerned, it was vain, you know, because I was trespassing against God's law to love and to forgive. And although I desired, and then there are many people who have transgressed against me, you know what I mean, and they seem not to have found any need to say, oh, I'm sorry, you know, and because of that, I did hold a grudge. And so it's between them and God as to whether He accepted their offering. But for me, you know, I have to do that which I find within myself to make peace with God. And I prayed, you know, and I struggled, because a lot of times it just seems as though people just took my meekness for weakness, you know, and just tried to do all they could to hurt me. And it was very, very difficult. It was a very difficult, well, I've had many years of difficulty, of a spiritual struggle to come into a peaceful relationship with God through His Son, Jesus Christ.
Okay, I can also testify that this poem is really x-raying what is happening in our community.
Yes.
All right, especially our churches.
Yes.
Most of the time, we want the pastor to see us. We want the public to see how good we are, when within us we are just rotten, and we just feel that we can twist God's arm. And sometimes we go to this vain we get into this vain fasting and all that because we want God to do things our way.
Exactly.
And so I'm very, very touched by this poem because it also kind of highlights some of my attitudes in church. You know, sometimes you go to church and you feel that being in church and doing all what you can do is enough to twist God's arm. But it needs to work from the inside.
Exactly.
You need to be at peace with God before you claim or before you seek God's help, because you really said it here. If we don't follow His commandments, then we're just offering some vain oblations.
Very true.
Yeah, that's right.
And I also do think that love is a process, or forgiveness is a process.
Yes, it is.
If I would sit down here and tell you that it's just something that's just going to happen overnight, if someone angers me, I would just have to get up one day or immediately and say, I'll forgive that person. I'm just being honest.
Exactly.
It is hard. It's a subtle change. I don't know what you think.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it's a real slow process, and a lot of times very painful process, because then we have to examine ourselves, you know what I mean? Whereas we have been injured by someone, then I would personalize it. I have to look within myself and see, what I have done, and how I desire God's forgiveness for my sins. And it seems like it should make it much easier for me to forgive others, but it doesn't work that way a lot of times. But it is a painful process a lot of times because it requires our looking within ourselves.
So I'm really very touched again, as I will keep on saying it, because the biggest theme here is for us to examine the vain offerings, the vain attitudes, or whatever thing that we do without really knowing why we're doing them. Sometimes we jump into things just because we want to look like others. We want to sound spiritual. We want to be religious. And we feel that God is going to be excited with all that. And so when things come, when things keep, let's say the things backfire to us, and we keep saying, some of us will say, oh, I don't think God is seeing us. I don't think this is a good God. I don't think this is it. And so we start breaking away from churches and going elsewhere. So the vain oblation is some kind of some canker worm that is really affecting most Christians. Yeah, and I feel that this should also this book in particular, this subtle changes, is full of many lessons that we need to get. So I'm just speaking for myself right now.
Thank you, and we will take another break. When we come back, we will talk about invisible scars. Are you a woman who is a construction worker? You're out there? This one is for you. We will be right back.
That He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him will not perish, but have an everlasting life. As we gather in here today, we are here to worship God. We're here to glorify His name, to tell Him who He is, to worship Him from our heart. Worship God. We are here to worship.
Light of the world, you step down into dark.
Welcome back to our program. To our viewers out there, we definitely would love the feedback from you. Right now, if you are a female construction worker, this one is for you. Did you know we have female construction worker? Wow, the invisible scar. We're gonna have a live presentation by Miss Brooks' daughter,
Jessica.
Jessica, thank you. So we want you to watch this.
I am a female construction worker, and really I do quite well. But by looking at my appearance, you'll never be able to tell. One cannot see the evidence of the splinters that pierce my hands. My feet show no calluses from working just like a man. My scars are all invisible. This you may not understand, for my heart is bruised daily by the unkind words of man.
Miss, I just want to pose a question to Miss Brooks. Invisible scars. We want to know the background of this point.
Well, I was in home improvements.
All right.
And believe me, I worked many, many long hours. And a lot of times people are not grateful for what you do. You get more condemnation than you get praise. And it got to a point that life was just getting me down because of criticism. And so although on the outward appearance, it seemed that all was well with my soul, inwardly I was hurting. You know, there are many scars that we bear, and people don't know it just by looking at us. And so as I write, I just try to address issues that I think that we need to consider, things that we often don't think about. And that's what prompted the poem Invisible Scars.
So are you saying that you were discriminated because you were a woman rather than the quality of the work that you did?
Oh, in a way, that contributed to it, but also when you work for long hours and you're neglecting your children and you're working with your husband, you know, it just creates a lot of anxiety, you know, a lot of stress, and a lot of things just build up, and things just get out of whack, and scars occur just because of life's problems. And
we will be right back.